So here we go, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Ipswich Town Profiles, the series where we put a spotlight on former town players. Today I'm joined by good old Jobster as we discuss Marcus Stewart. What a player, what a man. Jobster, thanks for joining me. What's the first thing you think of when you hear Marcus Stewart? Recently been inducted into the Ipswich Town Hall of Fame. What a player he was.
Where do you start? I mean, for me, he was my favourite player. Grew up in a family from Ipswich, and they all had their different players from their generation, but Marcus Stewart was mine. Stood out for that, for his goals more than anything else. That was 19 goals that he scored in that Premier League season. It will go down in folklore.
It will do, my friend. And let's do a timeline of his town career. Of course, everyone watching this, they probably already know this, but let's go through it, Jobster. Joined the club in February 2000 from Huddersfield for a good fee, from a promotion rival at the time, of course. Scores on his debut at Barnsley. And then when Huddersfield came to Portland Road, he scored as well. What's your sort of early memories of that sort of start for him? We spent a bit of money on him, and then he goes and scores in his first two games.
I was blown away, Ross. For Ipswich to get a quality striker like Marcus in that season was I just couldn't believe that, we were able to attract that calibre of player. And from a promotion rival as well. He'd scored so many goals for Huddersfield and was keeping Huddersfield, right within the promotion race to sort of leave them and join us was just like, wow, what a statement that the club is now making. And then to go and score on his debut, that's what boyhood dreams are made of, aren't they? And then to then go and score against his former employees only a week or so later, well, you couldn't write the script, could you, after that?
And of course, 2.5 million, I think, was the fee. And at the time in 2000, that was a lot of money. Nowadays, it's peanuts, but that's a lot of money in the Championship, the Division 1 at the time. He started well with the 2 goals. He didn't score then for a while until, of course, the playoffs came. Bolton away. We weren't doing great. But then Marcus Stewart, it was the Marcus Stewart day where he scored 2 unbelievable goals. A lot of debate on which one's better. First goal, great volley. But the second goal, it was just all Marcus Stewart. What's your memories of those 2 goals?
Oh, yes, there we were, playoffs again. We're all hurt by playoffs, up pop Marcus. I mean, that first goal, I mean, we can wax lyrical about it like every Ipswich fan does. The turn, the volley, the hit, beating the goalie there on the line. I mean, that was what a strike, and it was just at the right time as well for us in that particular game. And then, the second goal, when you think the chance is gone and you think, oh no, he's missed it, up he pops and puts that one back in. And it's just like, we went crazy, as you can imagine, in that away end. Relief but relief for Marcus as well. That our big signing had turned up in what was our biggest game of the season to date.
Definitely. And of course, he had number 27 on his back in that season. He also scored at Wembley, of course, a great header. Of course, Martin Royce sort of stole the show that day with the final goal. But we finally did it, Jobster, into the Premier League. And as you mentioned at the start, 19 Premier League goals for Marcus Stewart, just behind Jimmy Floyd-Hasselbank with 23 that season. But he was the highest English top goal scorer that season. I don't think we were expecting what happened. 5th in the Premier League, missing out on the Champions League on the final sort of day. But what's your memories of that season? Just Marcus Stewart just stood up and scored the goals.
He did, yeah. And, the first memory that comes back about that season was, momentum had just carried us on from the Championship. I think it was our 4th attempt through the playoffs to get through, and we'd finally done it. We'd got that monkey off our back. And to get to the Premier League, we were probably bookies' favourites to go straight back down, just because of, the years that we spent in the Championship. But wow, didn't Marcus's goals, really help us out that season? And, there's so many goals that stand out to this day that you can continue to, to talk about and that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because I've looked at them goals. I was very young at the time, so I'm letting you lead this memories chat because I wasn't at some of these games because I was only like 4. Sorry to age people. But yeah, goal the goal against Liverpool, once again, another solo goal. Scored a hat-trick against Southampton, live on TV. The chip penalty and some other great goals. What's the memories from those goals? And, he scored against Chelsea and the Aston Villas, the likes.
He did, yes. He was scoring goals against some of the bigger teams. The first sort of goals that stand out for me was his brace against Everton over at Goodison Park. They were sort of early on in the season, and it was like, well, hang on, we're going to Goodison Park and winning away here. So we got to remember we were so good that season. Our away record was great, but Anfield is clearly the pick of the bunch. Remember, the Ipswich team had never won at Anfield until Adam Tanner scored for us back in '95. So, we're going back to Bobby Robson's days, where they just couldn't win at Anfield. So we'd got that monkey off our back, and then we rock up in 2000. And, the goal that Marcus scored on that day, at the Anfield end as well, that will go down in Ipswich folklore as one of the goals that, one of the best goals that Ipswich Town as a team have scored. But Marcus takes the plaudits, for that particular day. I mean, trying to remember the goal, I think it's Sandoval, I think it was the goalie, just to leave him sort of like on his backside with the audacity just to take his time and put that away, and of course send us fans into wow, really, we've been under the cosh the entire game, and here we are going up the other end, and what's a Marcus Stewart masterclass. It was absolutely brilliant. And then, like you say, carried on the rest of that season, chipping in with vital goals here and there. But then the hat-trick against Southampton, absolutely brilliant. Again, to go down away from home, score 3 without any reply was just out of this world. And the penalty that topped off that game, a panicker, I think is how you guys call it.
But I
don't know. No, not me either. But yeah, I mean, just absolutely, fantastic. And to finish, the Premier League season, with 19 goals, he was the highest English goal scorer that season. Like you say, just behind Jimmy Hoyfloyd Hasselbank on 23. You couldn't have predicted that at the start of that season. You really couldn't. And he took the Premier League by storm.
Yeah, that's the perfect word. He took the Premier League by storm. But Sven Goran Eriksson decided, don't fancy calling him up. And I think that's what I'm sure Marcus and all Town fans think. What's going on? I think that's probably one of the sad thing about that season. Of course, missing out on the Champions League, but then also Marcus not getting an England call up.
It was a travesty. It really was. I got blue tinted glasses on. I'm an Ipswich fan, and Marcus, he was a standout player, but he was the highest English goal scorer that season. You take a look back at who was in who some of the players were, Heskey and Darius Vassell. Those sort of players are like, come on, what has Marcus? What more did Marcus need to do to earn an England call up, just to go and get to go and even play in the the qualifiers for the World Cup? It was a travesty that Sven didn't include him in the England squad that year, and I think Sven was at the England game as well. So you've seen that hat trick. What more could that player have done in his career? And probably, like you say, Marcus gutted that in his illustrious playing career and coaching career just wasn't able to add that England cap to his list of well-deserved honours.
Definitely, my friend. And let's talk then about Marcus's gloves before we get into the second season. Of course, him sadly leaving the club back in 2002 to go to Sunderland. But those gloves are iconic. They're selling them now in the club shop, which is also part of the MND as well. Sadly, of course, Marcus being diagnosed with that. But yeah, the iconic gloves. Did you have a pair back in the day?
I did have a pair back in the day. Obviously, they're well worn, and I'm assured that my children will be picking me up a pair. Probably might have already got me a pair for Father's Day later on in the year. So watch this space with that one. But yeah, gloves. He's still wearing his short sleeve shirt out on the pitch on a cold, winter's night in the Premier League, but he's got these gloves on. And what a standout they were. And again, all add to the iconic nature that Marcus gave us fans back in that Premier League year.
Definitely, mate. And sadly, the second season, though, for the team as a whole, of course, a few signings from George Burley, signing the likes of Finidi George and some other European players. But we got relegated. 6 goals for Marcus that season. Did score a few in the UEFA Cup as well against Helsingborg. 2 very good goals in Sweden. Relegation. A few injuries for Marcus as well. What's your memories, Mark, of that season? A disappointing end to what was the season that was last year.
It was, with George Burley finishing as manager of the year as well at the Premier League. We go into that sort of what I call second season syndrome, where you can look back and on hindsight and say, we overachieved that year. Well, of course, we overachieved that year. We were going into Champions League places to lead to the final few games and ended up finishing in 5th, and we're in the UEFA Cup. And, again, as I talked earlier, as a fan, we've been brought up on the diet of Ipswich being in the UEFA Cup, season after season, and here we are going on a European tour. But it just showed the lack of depth in our squad to be able to compete at the Premier League level and go on a European tour, the right way to describe it. And it was inevitable that we were going to ultimately struggle with into that second season, and it didn't help. Marcus was injured for a period of that time as well, and maybe the squad had relied on his goals so much in that previous season that he couldn't carry Ipswich again for a second season.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, back in Division 1, he then went on to sign for Sunderland, and that was it for his Town career. But he's fondly remembered at the club. It was great to see him back recently, of course. Sadly, of course, diagnosed with MND recently. But he's a player that I think he will always be remembered for that Premier League goals, from the gloves to the goals at Bolton. That will get replayed by everybody. Even, current day Town fans, the younger generation, they'll be shown those clips. Mark Jobster, to end this video, your final words on Marcus Stewart. What a player he was.
Oh, what a player! I enjoyed, seeing him on the pitch. I enjoyed seeing him in an Ipswich shirt. I still to this day say, I just couldn't believe that we managed to sign him from Huddersfield. Absolute legend, and quite rightly, when he came on to the pitch at half time a few games back, the applause that he got from the Ipswich fans, so well deserved, and the icing on the cake to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Well done Ipswich, well done the Players Association for doing that. An Ipswich Town legend, and absolutely fully deserved.
Definitely, my friend. Well, thanks for joining me, Jobster. Thanks everyone for watching. Walking in a Stewart Wonderland, of course, the famous song. Let us know your memories of Marcus Stewart as well, playing for Town, and of course, we're always thinking of Marcus with his situation at the moment. But thanks again for watching, everybody. Another edition of Ipswich Town Profiles.